Near mint condition, the home of collected editions.
That cover's so awesome.
Absolute format is the best way to own this store. Time to empty those wallets and fill those shelves. How's it going, all you minties? This is the Uncanny Omar with
Tik Tok Tina.
And where are we, Tik Tok Tina?
In your basement.
No, what is this channel?
This is Near Mint Condition.
There you go, that's it. What are we talking about today, Tina?
Well, we're gonna go over Titan Manga. These beautiful volumes that you see before you.
Alright, let's go ahead and get started.
And before we get started, I just wanted to thank the people over at Titan for sending us this manga.
We wanted to thank the people at Titan.
Oh, yeah, you are here, aren't you?
I'm doing this with you. All right. Before we get started, though, also, we leave timestamps in the description of the video in case you're curious about one or two titles, or if you don't want any spoilers. But I am going to let ladies go first. What's the first book or series you're going to be talking about, Tina?
Let's talk about Alpi.
I thought it was Alpi, the Soul Sender.
You're right. It is Alpi.
I'm going to leave your wife's cackle back there.
The first one I'm going to get into is Alpi. I think I pronounced it Alfie, but Alpi. This is a magical girl series. This wonderful volume or series is created by Rona. So let's talk about Alpi. Alpi, it is beautiful artwork. Look at that artwork. I always love like this sort of like painterly aspect of artwork, especially on the covers. It is 176 pages for the first volume. It was released October 10th of last year, and it looks like it retails for $12.99. Look at that. When we open it up, of course, advertisement for the second volume here. And look at that first cover. It's got typical, nice typical manga pages. And look at this artwork. This is sort of a magical girl story. It starts out with a young girl with, I want to call him like her caretaker, very butler-esque caretaker that is helping her in her journey. Her job, even as young as she is to release sort of spirits, these creatures that take care, or I wouldn't say they take care of humanity, but they basically bless or give rain, lightning. They make things grow in this world. She basically sends her souls when they die to the afterworld. Because if one of these creatures die, then they release curses if you leave the bodies there. So there are these soul senders, which she's one of them, that will send these souls to the afterworld. And it's not an easy job. These curses do taint the soul senders, and each job is unique because you have to realize that each of these spirits, some of them are in the sky, some of them are in the water, and there's a very specific rite to release the soul. And she's got to problem solve each and every one to figure out how best to send the soul off so it doesn't curse or destroy the villages or the people that live around them. So it's kind of a give and take. Although these creatures bless the world that these people live in, they also curse the world that they live in once they die. It's a really unique setup. I really enjoyed this volume, and the art is stunning. In the very first volume, we really get to know the initial character or the main character that we're following. And right now, there are 3 volumes out. So volume 2, I'll just show you some of these pages real fast. Look at that. And I am absolutely in love with this artwork. It's a nice fantasy world. It gives you enough that you're starting to get into the world, into the characters, and into the myth of this world. And we kind of find out in volume 2 and 3 that she is looking for her parents. Her parents are also soul senders that had to leave her suddenly. I don't know exactly where this will end, but right now we do have 3 volumes from Titan Manga.
I had done an overview of Volume 1 of Adam, the beginning, and I wanted to talk about just how amazing this series was. And every time there's an incarnation of Adam, or Astro Boy as I knew him growing up, I just get sucked into it no matter what. It's just showing the covers and the backs of these particular books. This is such a fun series because it works like a prologue. It's not a reimagining. I mean, it is a little bit of a modernization when you're talking about the characters that appear through here, but it's basically a prelude to what happens in Astro Boy. So this is all by Masami, or I'm sorry, of course it is based on the work of Osamu Tezuka, but it's by Masami Yuki and Tetsuro Kasahara. And it's just the continuing story of A106 entering different tournaments. And of course this is by Umataro and Hiroshi, who are the engineer students who enter the robot into these particular tournaments. So it's basically, at first, it kind of reminded me a little bit of that long story arc of Battle Angel Alita, where she was entering the, oh my gosh, not Blitzball, that's from Final Fantasy. The Motorball, is that what it's called? Tournaments, but this is him fighting other robots. And at first I thought, okay, each of these volumes is going to feature the character of 6 fighting different robots, whether it's Mars, whether it's Pluto. And then I'm sure there's going to be a little bit of a twist. But then it starts going into a mystery as to who is building these particular robots, especially after the big fight with Mars during the robot wrestling competition. They have to continue who is making them. Sorry, that's the wrong volume there. I wanted to show the artwork a little bit without going heavy into spoilers. Who exactly is Dr. Lolo, and where it is Dr. Lolo hiding, and what exactly is she building, and what is the plan with all of her robots. Again, there's different robots in here. If you're a fan of the original series, it will definitely be a throwback and love letter to it. The sound effects are translated within the panels right underneath. Yeah, you see it originally in Japanese and then in English in a smaller case, and translated within the panels, so they're not in the back. The book itself has this paper stock. It's a little thin, so there's a little bit of bleed through. Kind of reminds me, honestly, of the Viz 3-in-1 manga. And each one of these books ranges anywhere from 202 pages to about 220 pages. And retailing for $12.99. Now, I think there's a total of 14 of these that will end the series, and that's it. But like I said, I've always been a sucker for these type of stories that are pretty much around the character, based rather, around the character of Astro Boy, because that was my childhood growing up. And a lot of these characters, including the engineers, and including Dr. Lolo, and including all of the robots that show up through here, really bring back memories of being a kid and just watching the anime. And then learning about the original manga and reading it in my 20s for the first time when it was originally printed by Dark Horse here in America. But that is Adam, the beginning.
The next volume I want to review is Witch of Thistle Castle. This has 176 pages in the first volume, so the rest of the volume should stand about the same. The first volume was released in October of last year, and it was created by John Terrachin. This is, if you like witches, if you like sort of that sorcery in modern day setting, this is the manga for you. It has gorgeous artwork. I mean, I have not had a complaint about any of these titles with their artwork. Look at that. I feel like these characters are well fleshed out. We meet the witch Mary. Here we are, Mary Blackwood, and her, I guess, orphan that she's taking care of. So the church sends an orphan to her named Theo. He has a unique ability that the church is watching, and they want Mary, who can see spirits, who is a witch, to look after and kind of do their job for them. The church and sorcery kind of have an uneasy truce in this world. Obviously, like most places, witchcraft and churches don't really get along, but it's this weird, uneasy truce. Magic is around, fairies are around, and they've got to survive together. Oh, look at that. Oh. So if you like, or if you kind of like that Harry Potter inspired world, this is right up your alley. So in Volume 2, Theo is learning more about his magic and makes a contract with one of the fairies. And it's kind of a double-edged sword with magic contracts. These fairies can possess you. They can control you if you're not the stronger partner. And we get a little bit more of the world building in Volumes 2 and 3. And I don't want to spoil what's going on, because it's really worth a read for you. Oh, we always have to have the standard toast and mouth scene. Anyways, check this out. Gorgeous artwork. Oh, look at that.
The Poetry of Ran, Volume 1. But this one was really awesome. I love the artwork in this book. And I know I'm not like doing a pick of the week for these because, well, Tina's with me and then I would have to make her pick one. But this one here, I really love the artwork. And the story, while stereotypical, I don't care. It was awesome. I loved it. So it is all centered around the character of Ran, who is this monster hunter. And they're not known as monsters, they're known as karma in this particular world. And he meets this young bard, and her name is Toroe, that's her name. And there she is. So what she decides to do is go and follow him and write the Poetry of Ran, if you will, inspired by him killing all these karma monsters. And not only that, but in order to save the impurity or people from the impurity of these monsters, he absorbs the impurity of these creatures, the evil, after killing them. Now, they aren't alone. Later on, you'll see other characters that they will meet on their journey, including, let me see if I can find her. I really like the character. No, okay, she's cool too. This is Mina. But I really like the character of Jill. Yeah, this is it. Which is she's part of the Knights of the Black Wolf. Yeah, right here. She's a little bit taller than Ran. Yeah, I like that character. And all of them together hunting these giant demons, these creatures known as the Karma, and defeating them. And then, of course, the little bard here, Toroe, writing a poem about Ran. And this particular book has 176 pages. Again, the translations of the sound effects are done within the panel. In the back, there's really not much as far as extras except for the different weapons that are here, including Toro. It's right there, which isn't really a weapon. Although, never mind. You can find out for yourself. And then my goodness, Titan is publishing so much manga. I love it. And this one here, let me give credit where credit is due, is done by Yosuke Osawa. Just making sure I give credit where credit is due. And here's all the translation information, who did the translation, and that is The Poetry of Ran. My name is Zero, Volume 1. This book has 176 pages and retails for $12.99. And this is by Hana Shinohara. I love the design of the book itself. It kind of reminds me of like a case of a video game. And that is the point of this. So this is all the story of Kanzaki Rei, who, at the very beginning, he starts off in this world where he is killing creatures and giant monsters and then getting paid. And then you see that he's transported, or rather that maybe it was a dream because he's asleep, and then he is transported back into the world. So maybe it's during his dream state that he is transported into the world, and that's what it is. The more you read, the more you find out through a series of flashbacks that he is in debt, and his sister needs money because his sister is at the risk of death because of her lack of medication. She needs these expensive medical treatments. So what ends up happening is he gets this email on his phone that if he joins this particular game, that he's able to keep the money from said game in real life. Like, they will deposit the money into an account as long as he keeps winning. So he meets other people there, and it's a little confusing at first because you're like, okay, so the other people that he's playing online with, do they know that it's a game? Or are they just NPCs? Who exactly is behind this? How are they affording this? So there's a lot of questions, and some of them get answered through here and others don't. But, oh my gosh, I was hooked. You know, just the idea of somebody risking their lives to save their sister, that's enough for me. But then you throw it in the elements of isekai, because, you know, he's trying to do it through a series of his favorite video game that he's now a part of. Yeah, hell yes, I'm in. $12.99, 176 pages, and the translations, like the other books, all done within the panels here of the sound effects. And there are different characters, and the more you read, the more you'll find out who exactly might be an NPC and who might not be part of the game at all. So that is volume 1. I'm not sure how many volumes that is, but I'm curious because I really enjoyed that one too. Kamen Rider Kuuga, volume 1 and volume 2. And I believe they already have 4 volumes of this one out already. This is by Shotaro Ishinomori and Toshiki Inoue and Hitotsu Yokoshima. Now, this is an loose adaptation. I haven't seen Kuuga. I'm not even sure. I don't know if it's live action. So this is not Masked Rider, by the way. This is for mature readers. There's a lot of violence and there's a lot of gore in here, and I love it. It starts off with this expedition that is taking place in Nagano, and it's a mummy that comes to life. After the resurrection of this mummy, there's a bunch of demons that come around and start killing people in violent ways. Like, we meet Detective Kaoru Ichiyo, and he's the one that gets assigned to these particular murders. Now, the very first person that he meets is this one creepy guy that's going around and putting explosives in people and then burning them alive, and the explosives blow up. And you're like, man, that is messed up. But you find out why exactly, that it could be due to this goddess that he might be worshipping. Now, while he's investigating the murders around Tokyo, Kaoru encounters creatures, and giant bug creatures, and one in particular that helps him out. And let me just show you this iconic entrance right here. So yes, this is, I mean, obviously this is, of course, what Masked Rider is based on here in America, which didn't last very long. Kamen Rider has been around for decades in Japan. But this is the latest incarnation, the Kuuga. And there he is. Now, coincidentally enough, we also meet this young guy who has just returned to Japan. This right here is a young student, Yusuke Godai. Kind of reminds me of Asako Godai from Maison Ikoku. It's got this blonde hair. He's kind of a goofball, and it's both him and his what is her name? Sakurano Sawatari. Both of them get up entangled in this mess. So by the end of the volume 1, you find out that, you know, it is him that is actually Kamen Rider, or the incarnation of Kamen Rider, because what ends up happening is Sawatari ends up getting kidnapped by one of these creatures. So he has to activate the power and become Kamen Rider to go and fight these particular creatures. And then, of course, you've got Detective Kaoru after him. So that's what this is about. Both of them in the first 2 volumes, learning about these creatures and exactly how to fight them. And this is about the adaptation of Kamen Rider Kuuga. And 192 pages, 176 pages, and $12.99. Tengen Hero Wars Volume 1. Man, there's a lot of different manga that Tina and I are going through. I really like this one. This is another one that's like an isekai. This is by Kubaru Sakanochi and Yazu Hiromoto. And what this is the story of Oda Nobunaga. Now, it's not the historical person, but it does have ties to that. Now, what ends up happening in this really weird isekai, we do meet the character of Oda, who wants to be a hero, about the heroes that he's learning about, and it's, oh my gosh, it's like a battle royale of all these classic people in real life. So what ends up happening to Oda Nobunaga and his sister Ichiko, they get transported to another world. And it's not really explained at first how the hell it happens. There's a lot of brutality here because we are talking about some of these people that are conquerors. Some of them aren't the nicest people. But both of them get transported into this world where a bunch of characters like Julius Caesar live, or where Oda Nobunaga live. And they're fighting each other. So he makes a deal with the original Oda to go and save his sister because she's been kidnapped by someone else, by another group. So through here, you're going to see a battle royale of history's greatest heroes. Well, I guess the definition of hero really depends on who you are. But you are going to see characters in here like Spartacus. You're going to see the character of Miyamoto. How dare I? Musashi. You're going to see the character of William Tell, of Lancelot, of Caesar, of Napoleon Dynamite. Oh my god, my wife would love that joke. Napoleon Bonaparte. And those characters just fight in this giant battle with their own forces. It is so awesome. This is like, I don't know, my cousins would love this because they're big into Dynasty Warriors, and that's what it feels like. This is like a giant isekai with Dynasty Warriors and a bunch of characters thrown in from history. Bill and Ted, maybe? I don't know. But this was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed this one, and I can't wait to read the second volume.
All right, this is something completely different. Well, I wouldn't say completely different, but it's a different format. This is Afro Samurai box set volumes 1 and 2. It was released back last year, November, and it comes in this beautiful slipcase. Now, these are trade paperbacks, and we do have, this is for Omar, we have little, I guess you could say postcard or leaflets. Let's get those out of there. If you collect them, more power to you. They're cute. I wouldn't say they're definitely not cute. Look at that. That is blood. That is a bear with a sword. It's coming at you guys. So this retails for $39.99. Each volume, well, I guess total length, I believe, is 352 pages. It is, let me warn you, definitely for older teens. There is a lot of blood. There is violence in this. Unlike the other two that I reviewed, I would say this is for a mature audience. If you want fights, if you want blood, and if you're a fan of the original anime, this is going to be for you. It's on nice, sort of thick, glossy. I did not see any bleed through when I was reading this, so you can be, there's a little bleed through, but it's not noticeable when you're going through. It is nice and glossy, and it is kind of done in that black, white, and red or blood, if you want to call it, even though it's not titled as such. The creator is Takashi Okazaki. And I just want to show you these covers. These covers are amazing. I especially enjoy volume 2. Now, if you're not familiar with Afro Samurai, and I actually wasn't, I never watched the original anime, which is based off of this manga. It is more sort of a Western style manga. You have a samurai who witnesses the death of his father. And essentially, in the very start, he's seeking revenge for his father, and that's what drives him and powers him through this. It doesn't matter what gets in his way. It doesn't matter what he encounters. His one driving force in his world is to seek out the man who killed his father, who killed number one. His father was the number one, like the end-all beats-all samurai or power in this world. And I don't want to spoil too much because being number one means something in the end. But he's seeking out the guy that took the number one spot from his father. The man who left him alive, but destroyed his entire world. So he's going to find this man. He's going to destroy them. No matter who he meets, no matter who gets in his way. And at first I was like, man, this guy is really stone cold. Like, this guy does not care who gets in his way, what happens to him, what happens to those around him. But it's a little bit more than that. I find that after reading this volume and letting volume 1 sink into me a little bit, I realized that he does care, but he has to move past his emotions. He has to move past the obstacles, these other samurai that are in his way. It doesn't matter what their motives are. It doesn't matter if they are worried about their brothers, their sisters. He has one goal in mind, and he'll achieve it. Oh, look at this. Like I said, there is a lot of violence. Obviously, any splash of red on here, it's blood. Blood is happening. Death is happening. Explosions. I'm just gonna flip through the second volume just a little bit because I really don't want to spoil the ending. The ending did send me for a loop. I was not expecting what happened in the end. And I do want to say the one thing that was a little bit interesting was, although this world is sort of like a Edo samurai world, there are futuristic elements. So I was like, is this a post-apocalyptic world? Is this something different? Don't let that get in the way of the story, because the story in the end is actually pretty powerful. I feel that volume 2 was much stronger and really led to what the artist was trying to tell than volume 1. But it did take a little bit to set up the character in volume 1. Oh, look at this. This is definitely more of a Western style. Very urban, which is weird to say with a sort of retro choice of setting in sort of like this Edo style with futuristic settings. It is very urban. Very almost urban American in a Japanese skin. But check it out. I enjoyed it. Tell me what you thought about Afro Samurai. If you watched the original one, how it compared to the actual manga. I'm interested to see what your take is on this.
Villain actor. Man, if this one doesn't scream American superheroes more than all the other manga here, I don't know which one does. So this starts as a flashback 30 years ago where a meteorite carrying aliens crashed on Earth. And a group of heroes, humans that were giving their power because of their blessings, as they call them, became heroes to fight off against these aliens. Now, one of these particular heroes, Ayumu Mashiro, has given up his dream of being a hero and ended up becoming just a police officer. So he's a different type of hero, right? Like, he's not one of the original heroes. He's somebody that wanted to become a hero and have a blessing and just decided to become a police officer because he doesn't have blessings. Well, as he is following one of his favorite superheroes, when he is after this particular burglar, what is this guy's name? The Firewolf, I think is his name. Yeah, Firewolf. He ends up seeing that there's a huge fight between Firewolf and this villain, this demonic creature, this alien known as Zero. Now, during this fight, something huge is revealed between Zero and Firewolf. And Firewolf ends up getting destroyed by this creature. And what this creature does is ends up taking over the character of Ayumu Mashiro, over his body, and inhabits his mind. And he can turn into this creature known as Zero, this legendary villain. However, he's been informed of all these secrets. Like, maybe they're not really aliens. Maybe these aren't really heroes. Maybe everybody's being played. So now he's seeing the world from a different perspective. This voice that is living inside of his head before he turns into the character of Zero is kind of guiding him in this big battle that's still happening between good and evil. This one has 176 pages and retails for $12.99. And damn, this was a blast. And this is another one I can't wait for volume 2. And I love the artwork and the character designs of these aliens and even the superheroes. So that's why I said it felt more like an American comic than all the other books that we've talked about this time. Oh, I can't wait to read Burst Angel.
If you're interested in purchasing any of this Titan manga, please check out our sponsors.
If you're in Europe and you're interested in buying these books, definitely check out Walt's Comic Shop in Berlin, Germany. They have the cheapest pre-order prices, flat shipping rate of €12 for all EU countries, emails answered within 24 hours, waltzcomicshop.com, and you can use the code nearmintcondition at checkout and get free shipping for all EU countries with your first order over €40. That's Walt's Comic Shop, your reliable source for omnis and premium collected editions in Europe. Ding!
CheapGraphicNovels.com, your online home for graphic novels and collected editions up to 50% off cover price. They have excellent shipping and prompt and helpful service. Check out their bargain deals for up to 90% off cover price. And don't forget, the CGN also takes pre-orders. That way you don't miss out on the hottest releases. And they are currently running a special promotion for you Minties. If you're a first-time customer, after receiving your order confirmation email, reply back to that email and let them know Near Mint Condition sent you their way. They will then apply a free shipping promotional credit to your next order in the US. Cheap Graphic Novels, your source for the hottest books with the kind of deep discount, quality shipping, and customer service that will keep you coming back for more.
And that was the content and page count of each of these manga. If you liked a particular volume, please comment down below.
And if you've read any of them, let us know which ones you're reading. But that's it, everybody. Thank you so much for watching. Smash that what button, Tina?
That like button.
That like button on the way out. Everyone stay healthy and safe out there.
Stay minty.
Nope. Damn it. Alright, that was good.